Ah, man,
you know, a
people
lot of
have,
masculinity.
yeah, people, it's easy for people to get somewhat, lazy or spoiled in the sense of, they, everything's right in front of them, so sometimes they're tough for them to really see the blessings that they have, that most people in other countries don't have, here in America, we have easy access to the internet, man. We have easy access to technology. We have easy access to sports.
Opportunities.
You go out there in the different countries, man, like, yeah, there's no Wi-Fi,
And they're all talking about
There's
getting
no
to
sports.
America so they can have these
Yeah,
same opportunities, man. So,
right.
so how did it translate to boxing? When did boxing start for you?
So I don't know, being in such a small town, there wasn't much to do, and 1999, the gym opened up in Avenal. A boxing gym opened up. Thanks to my godfather, who became my godfather afterwards. But at the time, his name was Armando Mancines. He grew up in East LA, and he got a job at the Avenal State Prison as a counselor. And then he moved up as a level 3 counselor. And during the time, I don't know if you guys remember, but they were taking away all the heavyweights, all the weights from the prisons.
I remember that. Yeah.
There was a state law and a federal law that passed that. The inmates were getting too big,
Yeah.
So Avenal had that same problem. That prison was extremely busy during
That's
those
a lot
times,
of weights to get out.
So people were getting too big, a lot of fights, and they were using those, some of those weights as weapons. So my coach, he's like, you know what, we should open up a gym and see. Our town was so small and there was no police department. There was only sheriffs. So they opened it together with the sheriffs, calling it the Sheriff's Activities League. And they got the weights, they got some equipment from the prison. And he had some boxing background from East LA. I mean, he grew up with Ray Mancini and some of those guys, Bobby Chacon from East LA. So he had that experience. And I mean, everybody in the small little town signed up. There was a big line of applications, and everybody was trying to sign to get into the sport. So my dad, being him working during, from 6 to 4, when he came back to Avenal, he saw there was a big line in the boxing gym. So he stopped by and he signed me up. He signed me and my younger brothers and even my sister too, because it was part of it being a boxing and fitness club.
Something positive for your
Something
kids to
positive,
do.
yeah.
Let the kids get out and have some fun.
And then he realized I was too energetic, and everything was there wasn't like soccer clubs, there wasn't baseball clubs that you play all year long like there is now, it was all seasonal, 2 months and that's it, you had to wait until next year. So he wanted me to do something all year long, because I had too much energy to spare. So
that's dope, man, that he was even thinking like that, because a lot of parents see an energetic boy and they try to suppress that. Like, don't be as energetic, calm down. Or they'll even get suggested medication from the schools, like just to calm them down a little bit.
But something about me though, it's like that most people don't know is that I was always a very shy guy. Like I was very somewhat gentle, outdoors, in the public. But when it came to my house, man, that was my comfort zone. I was a mess. I was a little, I was a little tornado, and nobody really knew that. Only my parents or my siblings, obviously, because either I would make them cry or I was, too rough with them. But other than that, nobody really knew that part of me. They knew me as a quiet boy.
So boxing's like the first time they got to see that come out of you.
Yeah, man. So my dad knew about that too. So he's like, I think Jose's gonna do good. So he signed me up. And
what age were you?
I was going to be 8 years old.
Okay.
And actually, when I walked in, I showed up kind of late. The gym hours was from 4:30 to 6:30, and I think I showed up like at 5.
Gotcha.
And every single kid was already inside the ring, and the coaches were talking at the time. So I kind of walked in slowly, and I realized I was late. But then I heard the coaches tell everybody, get off the ring and go put some boxing gloves, and I want you guys to get some of the heavy bags and double end, the speed bags. So I remember I kind of just jumped in and got some gloves. And the first bag I hit was the double end bag, which is the one kind of that goes fast, right? To work on your timing. But it hits you back. I mean, it comes right back. So if you hit it and you don't move, it could hit you.
It hit you back, yeah.
And that one was real. It was real tense. You could control on the level by making it very tight. The tighter you make it, the more it bounces.
Tension on the rope.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that one was had some tension. So when I hit it, it hit me back, man, and I had a little hook connected to the lower back, and that little hook hit my lip, you know, and I started bleeding a little bit. So I got embarrassed. Like I was like, man, you know, somebody's probably watching. I took out the gloves, and I got embarrassed because I was a very good athlete. Actually, I was a very good runner, soccer player, baseball player.
Got you.
And you know, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me.
It challenged you.
Yeah, it challenged me. So I kind of walked away from the gym. And at the time, my dad had bought a house that was 2 blocks away from that gym. He saved up, him and my mother saved up, I think like $7,000, so $6,000. And that's because he got a good job. He got lucky. He met this guy who gave him an opportunity. And he was able to save like $6,000. I mean, it took him like 15 years to save $6,000. Wow. And my mom was like, he says a down payment. And they saw this house going for sale for $15,000. And it was pretty much just the shell. You know, there was no walls, nothing. And yeah, they bought it. And it was 2 blocks away from the gym. My dad and his buddies, they fixed it up together. I mean, they just, you know, they were not, they had no experience in the construction world. I think one of his friends did, but it was just more of a project for them to fix.
They had a hell of a hustle too.
Yeah, man, and there were those type of guys. And again, there was no internet for them to look at YouTube how to make.
No distractions.
No distractions, man. There was
and you said no instructions for them like that.
And no instructions, you know. They will start all over and fix it, you know. And but it was two blocks away from the gym. So when the gym, like 6 months after I was 8 years old, I used to see a bunch of kids walking to the gym with the boxing gloves on the shoulders.
Gotcha.
So I was so close to the gym.
And this is after you decided I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. That's after I walked away, and I was like, you know what? I'm too quiet in school. You know, like usually I'm only known for being the captain or you know being a strong athlete. But I really don't. You know, I need some more social skills. You know, you could say. So I was like, maybe I'm gonna go hang out. You know, and forget the sport, but just kind of meet friends, meet more, you know, socialize more. And so I got there early, I got there on time, and the first couple of days, man, I started seeing some kids already more advanced, you know, like they had already had six months. They
Did you get competitive when you saw that?
100%, man, right away. Some guys already had like 6 amateur fights, 3 amateur fights, and I was like, you know, I gotta be the best, you know, I gotta
From
push
the beginning,
myself.
at 8 years old, you're like, I'm gonna be a champion.
I told myself, I can't be behind, you know, and and I remember some of these kids, they would get announced every time they would fight, and my coach would announce them and say, hey, we want to just give a round of applause to, you know, to Jesse for, you know, winning this fight on the weekend. So, you know, and they will take the trophies that they will win to the gym, and I'd be like, shit, man, like, I want one of those trophies, you know.
And back then, the trophy meant the trophy. It wasn't like you just participated.
Those things are nice back then.
Yeah.
You know, they were the foundations. Most of them were with that little marble, so they were heavy ones, you know. Yeah. Even the wooden ones had that marble foundation.
It meant something.
Yeah, it meant something. They were heavy, and back then I used to play. It was all seasonal, so you used to get a small trophy at the end of the year.
Gotcha.
You know, so I wanted those big 2-story trophies, you know. And it was part of the Sheriff's Activities League, so there was activities happening after boxing practice. They would play futsal, they would play pool, they would watch movies outside. Yeah. And they would bring a projector out, and they used to do a bunch of activities. But I was staying in the gym, kind of working on the heavy bag, working on spending an extra 30 minutes, you know.
Even back then.
Back then, I was like, man, I'm behind. You know, some kids are pretty good. So instead of me going and participating with the social part, I was like, forget the social part. I got to be competitive.
Early on, you already had that champion mindset.
Yeah, man. I was staying an extra 30 minutes and hit that heavy bag. So that right there helped me get my license to be able to compete. And so I got my license about a month and a half afterwards, and then I got my first amateur boxing fight in the year 2000 in Fresno. I fought a kid who was 9 years old, and I won my first amateur fight, man, and I did so good that obviously I got this big trophy like this, man.